Hey everybody, so I am back today and I am just doing an unboxing sort of close-up look at the Knight Models Marvel Universe Miniatures game X-Men starter set, as well as the Deadpool mini and card that goes with it. Now, I'm not doing a review of the book itself, like the rule book or the cards for the models. This is mostly just going to be looking at the miniatures. I do have another video that I had uploaded that where I just show a little bit of the starter set booklet and what it looks like and talk a little bit about it, and that's in the Avengers video, so you can look at that if you haven't seen it. And in the future I will be doing other videos where I'll look more at the rules. Okay, let's take a look at the starter set first. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm not going to go through this, but it does come with its own rule book that is, I think I said it was like 30 pages, 32 pages roughly, and it has a scenario that you can play with any of the miniatures, but each booklet comes with its own sort of scenario that you can play, not specific to the group, but basically you add them up as you collect starters. And then each miniature comes with a card that you open up and it looks like this. Pretty nice. Alright, but let's look at the miniatures because that's what I'm primarily looking at for this. Now, Knight Models does include plastic bases, and so you get their pre-molded bases, and you get one for each character. We'll start with Colossus, the largest of the miniatures, and Colossus does not have any additional pieces. He is a single sculpt. So just looking at him here, I'm just going to do a quick turnaround before I zoom in further. He seems to be sculpted really nicely, or cast I should say, as well as sculpted. You can see that there's a mold line even this far back on the sides that will have to be trimmed, but otherwise looking pretty good. I'll actually zoom in. Quite like the detail in the face. The expression's actually really good with these models. You can see the mold line pretty clearly over the head there and over the face and down the body. But if you look at the detail and the metal skin, that he has right in the side right there, it looks really good. And there's mold lines underneath the arm. It's on both sides. As well, the detail on the legs for the metal bands looks really good. I would say the detail in the cloth too looks really good for the uniform. One thing about Colossus is I know that he's often, he's a big guy in the comic, but they chose to make him based on his base size alone. I would say that he's likely what they call a level 2 character based on size, which is like a normal human size. Level 1 would be like Rocket Raccoon, but like Colossus and Cyclops, like all of those guys, I think they're level 2. Just showing Rogue next to him, they're roughly pretty similar in height. Maybe she's stretched out and curled back a bit more, but I think he is taller. But even Wolverine is supposed to be shorter, you can see. But they're both considered to be level 2. I think level 1 goes here, and then level 2 probably ends pretty close to where Colossus is at. The base size would be bigger otherwise, because level 3 would be like the Thing, and he's actually different, you know, a bigger model. I suppose they could have went either way on that, but they chose to keep him within the normal size. But he is large, despite that. I mean, even if you look at... I'll move on to Cyclops next. Even if you look at him next to Cyclops, he's much bigger. So, I think the look is preserved, in my opinion. Alright, so we have Cyclops. I'll just do the quick turnaround first. So there is an arm on a sprue that has to be put on. Just looking at his hand there. That finger looks okay. I was wondering if it was a little short, but I think it's okay. Yeah, it looks better there. Okay, let's go in a little close. Looks pretty good. These lines around the front are part of the uniform, I know. I've seen what it's supposed to look like. There is still a mold line there on the sides. I want to look at something, sorry, real close up here. I'm trying to get in really, really close, but sometimes I can only get so close. So it looks as if the visor is okay, but and it's hard because the metal is sort of shiny on this, but I think that essentially there may be a little bit of cleanup there. There it looks actually fine. Let's see. Alright, well that was a long journey to show that, but that's kind of what this video is for, is to show you what you might end up with. I think it's okay, and he does have I'm going to pull out a little bit here. He does have an arm here that is basically touching, he comes up here to touch his visor, like he's shooting, essentially. And it's an open cavity there, but there is a block there that have to be fitted in. Alright, so next will be Rogue. So for those of you that have watched the Avengers one that I've put up already, I think Rogue's legs are very similar to Black Widow's. They're just very long, but I don't know. I actually think it's fairly proportionate. I don't know. I actually liked this sculpt. I saw some great paint jobs with it, and that can sometimes influence me. But in general, like the face here, looks very good, in my opinion. Just pulling out the card to look at it. I like it. I think they did a good job on this one. I personally like the posture on Rogue, and there is a leg that's sort of going backwards. Well, it's actually just bending backwards. I think it's supposed to look something like Let's see if I can get him. Yeah, it's supposed to look something like this. The fit's actually pretty good on this. Better than usual. So that's actually not bad. And this is a great paint job that the studio did, but it's a nice mini. I'm going to enjoy that. Painting that one, that's great. So, last but not least, Wolverine. This is a nice sculpt. They did make him shorter. I'm actually going to show you even next to Cyclops, because I guess in the comic, Hugh Jackman, I guess, makes it a bit off, like compared to the comic, but he was always considered to be a bit shorter, but just really stocky and tough. And you can see that here, you know, even next to Cyclops. That might not, for those of you that are more know the movies for X-Men and not the comic, that might come as a surprise to you. I definitely like the face on Wolverine. There we go. Look at the detail in there. I think it's very good. Now, he does have his hands and his claws that you have to add. But he looks actually pretty good, his sculpt. I don't see any major issues. That looks very good. I do see the mold lines on the sides. That seems to be the norm with these casts, but yeah, it's normal anyway. And so yeah, you just get fists with claws that you add. Those have to be played with a little bit, just straightened a bit, but that's also to be expected. So yeah, so I will be right back and show Deadpool next. So here is the studio sculpt for Deadpool. Looks pretty good. Now, I haven't watched the Deadpool movie. I hear it's excellent. But Deadpool, I may have mentioned, is after my time. I got him. He can be used either for the Avengers or the X-Men. But I had gotten him mainly just to have as a character when playing the game. And he looks pretty cool. I like the looks of him. But unlike everybody I've showed today, I don't really know as much about Deadpool other than just the basics of what I know from others and what I've heard over time. So, do a quick turnaround on him. So a little bit more flashing I can see here and there. And even I'm not sure if around the top that's flashing. It looks like it's mold line, a little bit of flashing. The detail on the sculpt looks really good with all of the stuff on his uniform and sort of like the straps and pouches and things. Again, gun pouches. Looks very good. It's also on a bit of a stone. And the definite mold line. I'm going to go in on the face a little bit. The face is supposed to be smooth as far as I know on the bottom. Like where the mouth is. And it is. For a second I think I was just seeing a shadow, but that spot, grab my pointer if I can. This spot right here initially looked to me as if it had a bit of something sticking out, but I think it was just the shadow of the nose on top. He has the definite diamond pattern in the eyes here. Really nice to help with painting, I think. And yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. just mainly for most of these guys, for all the ones I've opened that I've ordered, is just a side mold line. It's primarily what I'm seeing. But yeah, no, that's great. Alright, so those are the X-Men that I have ordered. Now, for those of you that are really into X-Men, just this week they have actually released the Gambit sculpt, and also the Groot for those that are into Galactic Guardians of the Galaxy. But I'll just throw up the photo of the Gambit sculpt that they just, like I think yesterday or the day before, put on Facebook. So for those of you that are diehard X-Men fans, you can see it. I happen to think it looks awesome. You know, it looks really, really good. I think they really captured Gambit really well in what they're showing. So I am impressed. Okay, see you, everybody.